Welcome to Microsoft Social Engagement Module 2, Connecting and Configuring. My name is Julie Yak. For our outline for this module, we'll go through discussing the different connections available to our social sources. They fit into 3 common buckets. Then we'll talk through and do a demonstration of connecting to our Dynamics 365 organization. And then finally, we'll discuss some of the common configuration items that we use in social engagement. So before we talk connections, let's talk about what sources are available. I had mentioned they fit into 3 different buckets. So here we have authenticated sources, those that require you to have an account, a sign-in, something available for you to authenticate with. Then we have common sources, news streams that are available to all, and so on. And then we have custom sources for RSS and Atom feeds. So let's talk through some of the commonalities with our authenticated sources. So our authenticated sources will give you access to otherwise private information, that information only available to registered users. For the most part, our authenticated sources allow us to have that engagement aspect of social engagement, listening and responding. There are a couple of exceptions to this, and we'll discuss those as those different sources come up. You also see publicly available information, not just that private. And this content is available to other users in your social engagement organization. The profile owner is the one who decides what sharing happens. So let's discuss Facebook. Most of us are familiar with Facebook. Most of us are Facebook users. With our Facebook integration with social engagement, it allows us to monitor public-facing pages, those that have no age or geographical restrictions. It allows us to engage with private messages on Facebook. There are explicit permissions that are required to be enabled. You have the ability to add an explicit Facebook-only search query. Facebook does not participate in the blanket search query. It's a Facebook explicit search. You can listen and engage from within social engagement. Now you can do this as both a user or as a page owner. And at least one authenticated account is needed to allow acquisition of Facebook content. Even the public-facing acquisition of Facebook content requires an authenticated user. Now, when it comes to Twitter, Twitter allows the private messages as well. You can do a Twitter-only search by choosing Twitter as the exclusive search, but also the Twitter information participates in our keyword searches. You must do an explicit choice to allow the acquisition of private messages from within social engagement. You can, as an option, follow specific Twitter users so you can identify those influencers or those that have other importance in your organization and explicitly follow their tweets. And you can listen and engage from within social engagement. Let's do a quick demonstration and I'll walk you through how to connect your Twitter user to social engagement. So now let's go in and we'll set up our Twitter user. So here we're going to go to our settings area. You can see that we have several choices here. We're going to go to social profiles. You'll see that we have a couple of items already set up, but let's go ahead and add a Twitter profile. This will bring you the standard Twitter dialog where you can enter your user information and your password. And then authorize the application. You'll see here that we've got it now included. We say that we own this as the owning user. We can share this profile with other users. We can have specific search topics designated with this user. Here we have a valid token that we can check. And if we'd like, we can allow the acquisition of private messages here. When it comes to Instagram, there is again that explicit approval that is required to get that acquisition of posts started. You set up your account rules and gather all posts and replies for a specific account. And if you wanted to do keyword searches, it is required to use hashtags in those searches in order for those to be gathering information. Instagram is a listen-only source, no replies at this time. And then we have LinkedIn as our source. You can share with LinkedIn via the social selling assistant once you've authenticated your account. You can post a link from within social engagement When you're doing those postings and those sharings, you choose the visibility of that post, either your connections or to the general public. And then coming soon, we have listening and additional actions available with that LinkedIn authenticated account. Several common sources and several commonalities within those sources. These are the sources that come up when we do our keyword searches. You'll see as you're building searches, you can have some different choices of whether or not you want to include these specific item searches. These require zero authentication. All of this information is available publicly. And you have many different language choices, and we'll discuss much more about languages soon. First, our news sources. We have thousands and thousands of different sources available coming in from the global providers of news. We've got the keyword searches, as I had mentioned, and in news, we can select different languages for our post acquisition. We can choose English, French, German, Spanish, and Portuguese. Reddit is one of those newer items that we have as an available source. It is a social news aggregator that has more than 200 million users. There are within the Reddit site itself opportunities for you to authenticate. However, this integration does not require authentication. It is a read-only source of publicly available information. When it comes to blogs, we have lots of different sources to come in for lots of broad coverage. We have full coverage of Tumblr blogs. We have broad coverage from WordPress, and then we have additional coverage from many different blog aggregators. And again, all of these are publicly available blogs. So if there's any kind of authentication or logins required, that information would not be available here. When it comes to videos, it is just the video feed from YouTube. So when you set up your searches, you will get your search results from video titles and descriptions. And very soon, we'll be getting search results available from the comments to those videos as well. Now, when it comes to custom sources, we have both RSS and Atom feeds available. This gives us virtually unlimited sources. You can add multiple custom sources in that single search, and you can also then add keyword searches to match posts from your custom sources.